Baruch, back in Baruch 6 at 27. It says, they also that serve them are ashamed, for if they fall to the ground at any time, they cannot rise up again of themselves. Neither if one set them upright can they move of themselves. Neither if they be bowed down can they make themselves straight. But they set gifts before them as unto dead men. I'm going to jump down to 31. It says, and the priests sit in their temples having their clothes rent, and their heads and beards shaven, and nothing upon their heads. They roar and cry before their gods, as men do at the feast of when one is dead. Okay, so get that account about Dagon.
Okay, this is 1 Samuel chapter 5, verse 1. It says, and the Philistines took the ark of the Most High, the ark of the covenant, right? It says, and brought it from Ebenezer unto Ashdod. When the Philistines took the ark of God, they brought it into the house of Dagon. And Dagon goes back to Dag, which means fish in Hebrew.
Fish god.
It's the fish god. It says, and set it by Dagon. And when they of Ashdod arose early on the morrow, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the earth before the ark of the Lord. Hey, because you can't make no idol stand up next to the ark of the Most High. Anyway, it says, it says, and they took Dagon and set him in his place again. And when they arose early on the morrow morning, behold, Dagon was fallen on his face to the ground before the ark of the Lord. And the head of Dagon, I was going to say this.
He fell to his face.
Yep.
It fell to his face before the ark, man.
Yep.
Just like how we fall to our face when we see the glory of the Lord, man. When our forefathers saw the glory of the Lord, immediately, man. So even the Lord will make your idol fall to its face, man. Go ahead.
I was going to say this, but it says it right here. It says, and the head of Dagon and both palms of his hands were cut off upon the threshold. Only the stump of Dagon was left to him. Like basically the head and the hands, all the power will make it alive, the thinking and the breath in it and all of that, and the work of his hands, all that was broken off. Because it's symbolism. But the Lord had the symbolism that there's no power in Dagon. He can't do nothing. You do things with your hands or with your feet, but there's no power in your mind either. So he broke the head off as well, just the torso.
Yeah. The Catholics, they the popes, they wear the Dagon hats.
Yep.
So you know that everything is reincarnated.
Recycled.
So the modern Christian church, Pentecostal, Mormon, fucking non-denominational, all this stems from the Catholic Church, man. Yeah. So all you people in Christianity, you worshiping other idols, man.
Right.
So you come out of the lineage of the Catholic Church, man.
Yeah.
You know.
You believe you worshiping who you call Jesus Christ, but that image is wrong.
Yep.
But then they really got you all into them idols. Whether it's Easter, whether it's Dagon the fish, or whether it's Semiramis and Tammuz, or even Nimrod himself. That was the point, right? You need more of that.
No, let's keep going.
Yeah, I see. It says, therefore, neither the priests of Dagon nor any that come into Dagon's house tread upon the threshold of Dagon in Ashdod unto this day. But the hands of the Lord was heavy upon them of Ashdod. Even though they didn't go back in there, the Heavenly Father was still heavy on them, right? It says, and he destroyed them and smote them with hemorrhoids, or hemorrhoids. Even Ashdod and the coast thereof.
Yeah. And he didn't smite them with that plague because of them worshiping Dagon.
No,
they could do that.
Yeah.
But they had the ark in the house of an idol.
Okay.
You don't compare the glory of the Lord to an idol, man.
Right.
You don't do that. The Lord would not give his glory unto another. So the Lord smote them Hamites for that, man.
Right.
And you better believe them hemorrhoids were so huge.
They can't sit down.
It told you that the whole village was in an uproar. They was They
Yeah,
were screaming.
we'll get to that. Let
They
me
were screaming and crying in agony, man.
Yeah, let me read this right here. It says, it says, struck them with tumors, probably bubonic plague, but it was just tumors. It was a tumor as a hemorrhoid.
Them big ass.
The things that was tender and yeah.
Boil.
Well,
Right up under your ass, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It was probably the size of fucking yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Considering, back then, the people were, obviously bigger, but
It's more severe. Everything
more
is
severe,
more, concentrated, so to speak. Verse 7, it says, and when the men of Ashdod saw that it was so, they said, the ark of the Most High God of Israel shall not abide with us, for his hand is sore upon us, and Dagon our God.
Yep.
So they sent therefore gathered all the lords of the Philistines unto them, and said, what shall we do with the ark of God of Israel? So, and they answered, let the ark of the God of Israel be carried about unto Gath. And they carried the ark of the God of Israel about thither. And it was so that after they had carried it about, the hand of the Lord Yahweh was against the city with a very sore destruction. And he smote the men of the city, both small and great, and they had hemorrhoids in their secret parts.
Yeah. Fucking ate shit up. You know that was that's total unease, man.
Yeah.
To have that shit, man.
Yeah.
Couldn't imagine the pain, man, the agony.
they was
All right. That the Ark of the Covenant was only meant to be the only people that could handle it were the priests.
Yep. Hey,
I mean the Levites.
Yeah, which was the priest. Who was that put his hand on it? I can't remember his name.
and he died.
and he
Yeah,
died.
he
No,
died.
it's about to fall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was about to fall and he tried to catch it.
Catch it,
Yeah.
make sure it didn't
Most High
fall.
put him to death.
Smote him.
Yep.
Killed him where he stood. They named it after him for touching the ark.
Yep.
Hell wrong with you? You ain't a Levite. Don't touch that.
Hey, but what is the Ark?
He's got the law.
That's
in
the
there.
treasure, man. That's
Yeah.
the word, man.
Yep, no, the real ark.
The real ark,
yeah.
man. The glorious word of the Lord, man.
Yep. Right.
You know, and that's
Hey.
precious. You hold that dearly, man.
And if I can say, that's why those that have escaped the pollutions of the world or then entangled in, if you've touched this precious word when you wasn't clean enough to see it through to salvation, the Lord gonna beat you with many stripes.
You gonna get fucked up, man.
Yeah, man.
You
You want me to read that? Because it's gonna say that they cried out.
know? Yeah. I mean, you could get it,
I
but
just
they
saw
cried
just
out
one more
because
verse.
they cried out because of the pain, right?
Right.
Yeah, you can finish.
It's the next. It's just one more verse. Verse 10. It said, "Therefore sent they the ark of God unto Ekron, and it came to pass, as the ark of God came to Ekron, the Ekronites cried out, saying, They have brought us the ark of God of Israel to us to slay us and our people." Yep. That's good enough. Boy.
Got it.
Keep going.
You was holding?
Yeah, God. Was Habakkuk brought out? Habakkuk 2?
No, he mentioned it, but he
Bring it.
Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 18 and 19. What profiteth the graven image that the maker thereof hath graven? The molten image and the teacher of lies. That the maker of his work trusteth therein to make dumb idols? Woe unto him that saith to the wood, awake, to the dumb stone, arise, it shall teach. Behold, it is laid over with gold and silver, and there is no breath at all in the midst of it. But the Lord is in his holy temple, let all the earth keep silent before him.
That's right, man.
Okay.
So Israel have no business serving idols.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah. I
You have no
gotta.
business serving an idol, man. You make yourself that much more low. Doing the things that the heathens do, man.
Yeah.
All right, they're beneath you. You don't do what people that are beneath you do. Okay? So
I had a brief.
you have something?
This is the account of Asa in his First Kings, and Asa was the king of Judah after Rehoboam. It's First Kings chapter 15, and I'll start at 11. And Asa did which was right in the eyes of the Lord Yahweh, as did David his father. And he took away the Sodomites out of the land and removed all the idols that his fathers had made, and also Maachah his mother, even her he removed from being queen, because she made an idol in a grove, and Asa destroyed her idol and burnt it by the brook Kidron. And that's that same spirit that was on him needs to be on you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Man, even his mom had an idol, and he made her from being queen and destroyed the idol. All right, so you know that shows you the righteousness of this King Asa, and the wickedness even of his own mother. You know, having an idol in the temple.
Hey, matter of fact, another king that did it was Hezekiah.
Yeah.
Find that real quick. Second Kings, I think.
Start worshiping the idols of Egypt.
Yep. That was King Amaziah. Amaziah, that motherfucker, he slew all them Edomites. But then after he slew them, he took their gods and started worshiping them, man. You know? Only niggas, only Jake, man. You know? Hezekiah, I believe that's might be somebody can look it up.
Give me a quote of it. What you
about when he came into to being king.
19.
Where you at?
Evaluation, yeah.
2 Kings 19.
Yeah, it's like 18 and 19, I think. Yeah.
King 16 and 20.
Okay, Con, I got it. This is 2 Kings 19 and 17. Of a truth, Lord, the king of Assyria had destroyed the nations
This is it right here.
and their
I'll
lands,
read it next.
and have cast their gods into the fire. For they were no gods, but the work of men's hands, wood and stone, therefore they have destroyed them. Now therefore the Lord our power, I beseech thee, save thou us out of this hand, that all the kings of the earth may know that thou art the Lord thy power, even thou only.
Yep. I got the other one. 2 Kings 18. I'm going to start at 3. It says, and he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord Yahweh, according to all that David his father did.
Yep.
It says, he removed the high places and brake the images and cut down the groves and break in pieces the brazen serpent that Moses had made. For all, it's a bronze copper snake.
Because they was worshiping that. You know? And that had it has spiritual significance, but that was not something you were supposed to be worshiping. Okay. Go ahead.
About his staff, right? Remember the staff got changed over? It says, for unto those days the children of Israel
Because
did...
I think that it had to do with healing.
Yeah.
That represented Yahweh Shai, man. Go ahead, bro.
Go ahead, say, and break in pieces the brazen serpent that Moses had made. For unto those days the children of Israel did burn incense to it, and he called it Nehushtan.
Yep.
Which in this scripture it says Nehushtan means place for pagan worship.
Place for pagan worship. See, and this is the reason why, for a long period of time,
that was high places.
High places.
But let me tell you all the definition. High places is place for pagan worship. Sacred pillars was the images. Wooden images was the groves, and then it says a bronze thing was that Nehushtan.
Yeah, what I was gonna say was, this is the reason why for a long period of time, Israel was too unclean, including the priests,
Yep.
to keep the Passover.
Right.
So you wonder why, when King Hezekiah became king, and he restored the order, and he basically, it was kind of like he rededicated, you know, the temple again.
Yep.
We was able to finally be able to keep the feast of the Passover, because for a while we was too unclean.
He wouldn't and cleansed everybody.
But he went and cleansed it out, and then there was still a few priests that was able to, you know,
to
hold the Passover. Because you can't be unclean and be partakers of, you know, the blessing and all that, man.
Right.
You know.
That's why circumcision is something big also.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Passover, you can't touch the Torah to get the Torah blessing if you have it. You know, according to the way the ordinance so that is done.
Right, man. So it took for him to basically cast all that off, so that we, you know, that we could keep the Passover again. So when they kept the Passover, they were real happy and joyful.
That's why,
you know,
I seeing them try to use that as like Hezekiah. We got the joyous one like Hezekiah. Well, still, that ain't how we supposed to keep it though.
Yep.
I mean, true enough, it lines up with how filthy our people are in this time, but come on, we need to hold it the way it's supposed to. It's a serious thing.
Solemn assembly.
I'm not thinking about Hezekiah's Passover.
Right,
I'm thinking about Yahweh Shai.
That's right.
I'm thinking about the original Passover. That one, you know.
Which today today is supposed to be of the Passover, according to them. But
Get that in,
you talking Easter bunnies and eggs and shit. What does that have to do with anything? That's because you're worshiping these different deities. But them gutter rats over there, they're keeping the Passover. Okay? But you see, they ain't, but hey, the real worshippers, the ones that's really keeping the real Passover, are the men of the Lord, man.
right.
Or Yahweh Shai. Okay? And it's a solemn assembly. Easter ain't no solemn assembly.
No. It's
This shit is a ritual where you all get together and you eat all type of manner of abomination. You breaking damn near you breaking a bunch of laws on this feast day, man. All right, the Passover was too strict. You can't if you partake of this and you do it unworthily, man, the Lord's gonna require it at your hands, man. You get judged for that. All right.
quick one real quick.
Come.
Ecclesiastes 7:2, it is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart.
That's right, man.
Yeah, hey, you should be better that you feast when somebody passed, rather than feasting on a day like this. This is supposed to be a serious, solemn assembly.
Yep.
The Passover.
Acts 12.
You got Acts 12.
And the
Going to
blue
that
letter.
one.
Yeah.
This is Acts 12 and 4.
This is the one place that the word Easter shows up in the Bible. Go ahead.
And when he
Next
had
to the wicked ass early church fathers who had access to the manuscripts.
Yep.
So when they had it translated, they had that they slipped that in there just so you can worship the sun.
Yeah.
You know?
another way for them.
And Ashtoreth or Ishtar.
So like, that's why it's very important to go back into the Hebrew.
Yeah.
This is Acts 12 and 4. And when he had apprehended him, and he put him in prison, and delivered him to
Because that was Peter. Then because who was the guy? Was that not Herod? Was it?
Talking about Herod,
right?
Herod, yeah, kind of.
it was
Herod got John the Baptist
He already
beheaded.
killed John the Baptist. So that
Or was it when he killed James?
It was James.
I think it might have
He
been
had just
when he
killed somebody. It
James.
was James. He just killed James right then. And it pleased the Jews the fellow Israelites to have one of their prophets killed. So he was like, fuck, we're going to go get Peter too. Let's go get Peter and certain other men. So they apprehended Peter and brought him into prison. Instead of killing him on the spot because the Passover was coming in, he wanted to make sure he didn't upset the people, so he waited. He was going to wait till after. There you go.
And delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him.
Yeah, make sure that the 4 quadrants is like 16 people watching over. If that, I'm not sure if that's what a quadrant is, but quad is 4. So just common sense, that's what I'm thinking. Go ahead.
Intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people.
Read the next verse real quick though.
Okay, come on.
The 5th verse.
Peter therefore
after Easter to what did it say again? After Easter to bring him forth to the what?
To the people.
Yeah. Read verse 5.
Peter therefore was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto the Most High for him.
Keep going. He's gonna tell you when the time
and when Herod would have brought him forth, the same night Peter was sleeping between 2 soldiers, bound.
It must be in 3, Salaki, bro.
Okay,
it must be in 3, the one I'm looking for. It's in verse 3, I think it is. It's gonna tell you about the unleavened bread.
Acts 12:3. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded forth to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread.
Which is the days of unleavened bread is right there with the Passover. It's the week that you don't eat leaven, or you take leaven out of your house and you eat unleavened bread. So that's a clue right there. We're going to that word.
And the Passover, they wasn't celebrating resurrection.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, they was keeping the Passover, man.
Yeah.
All right, they were drinking the wine. They were eating the bitter herb. They were eating the lamb, and they were remembering.
They came out of Egypt.
Not only that, but they were remembering what the Lord said on His Passover.
Yeah, because it was after. You're right.
Remember when you drink this blood and eat this bread, you know, basically remember me. This is the blood of the covenant, man. All right, so that has to do with the Passover, not with these people talking about today. All right, celebrating Ishtar, man. It has no association with what our forefathers was doing, man. All right, what they were doing was sacred and holy. What the world is doing, paganistic, satanic, man. Go ahead, Al.
It's Easter, Strong's G 3957, Pascha.
The Greek word is Pascha. He's going to tell you what the definition of that word is.
The Passover, the meal, the day, the festival, or a special sacrifice connected with it.
Which is the Passover festival.
The Paschal sacrifice, which was accustomed to be offered for the people's deliverance of old from Egypt.
You would kill a lamb and you would roast it with fire, eat it with bitter herbs and unleavened bread, and that was holding the Paschal, or the Pascha, the feast of the Pesach in the Hebrew. The Paschal is the Greek way to say it, but it was holding the custom of the Passover. And when you go into the Passover, it's said to keep the ordinance of that feast forever. But it was a solemn assembly also.
The Paschal lamb.
Hey, so that lady that you questioned earlier when you asked her what does Easter mean, and she said resurrection, she was wrong.
Right.
All right, because the Greek word for Easter is Pascha. The Greek word for resurrection is anastasios, which means to rise again, or a thing risen. Okay? They wasn't celebrating the Lord rising back up. They were just celebrating the Passover, man. Okay?
That's what Easter means.
Easter, that has no association, man. Easter goes back to Ishtar. But the word that's there is Pascha, which is Passover. Resurrection, that's a whole nother word.
And I want to say about that, they didn't celebrate when the Lord was resurrected. They was in disbelief. Like, what? For real, he's risen? Where'd he go? He's supposed to be in the tomb.
No, they were happy, but they didn't throw no big feast and celebration over it, man.
2 days later, he was still in there 2 days later. If it was Good Friday to Easter Sunday.
Right.
So this is all twisted up, and your lack of common sense as a people, you don't even put it together. It's 2 and 2, put it together. It's 4. Or 1 and 3, 1 and 2. equals 3 days. 1 and 2 is 3. You can't even count.
Like if we had the lunar calendar, a 29-day lunar calendar, and the scriptures tell you when the Lord was crucified.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, somebody get it. John in 19th chapter. I think it's John 19 around, because it told you that when he was still up there on the cross before they took him down, it was the day of preparation. What is the day of preparation? It's basically when the Sabbath is basically over with, and it's coming into the Sabbath day, where basically it begins the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And what we have to do, according to the law, we're supposed to prepare for the feast. It was going to be a feast that was going to last a week. So on the day that we prepare for the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which the first day of that feast is a Sabbath day. So that was when the Lord was still on the cross. All right? And if y'all say that the Sabbath day starts on a Friday, but y'all say, it's like y'all get it confused. A second y'all say Friday sundown, a Saturday sundown. But then the traditional Christian, whatever denomination, no Sunday is the Sabbath day.
Yeah.
But how is that according to your calendar? That's the first day of the week.
Right.
Yeah.
How is that the Sabbath day? But then y'all say Saturday is the Sabbath day.
Well, it don't fall on either one of them
It
days.
don't follow any one.
Right.
You
Y'all
know?
just accept
But
what
that's
the devil
that
spoon fed you.
confusion, man.
Yep.
Because Esau, he basically destroyed everything, man.
You just
He
accept
sought
what the
to
devil spoon fed you.
He sought to destroy the times,
Yep.
the seasons,
And
the
ordinances.
laws, the order, you know.
Yeah.
He put that confusion in the world, man.
You accept it without common sense.
Right. So
You got it in 31, right?
yeah, get that in.
It's John 19 and 31. The Jews, therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day, for that Sabbath day was an high day, besought Pilate, and their legs might be
Why was it a high
broken.
day? Because it was the beginning of it's the Sabbath. It was a high day because the Passover was about to come in at sundown.
The Feast of Unleavened Bread.
Yeah, Feast of Unleavened Bread.
Read that again.
The Jews, therefore, because it was the preparation,
What verse is that?
31,
31. All right, go ahead.
that the body should not remain upon the cross on the Sabbath.
All right, let me, you go into the blue letter, right? And the preparation is from the Greek paraskue, and it says readiness, preparation. In the New Testament, the day of preparation, the day on which the Jews made necessary preparation to celebrate a Sabbath or a feast. So when you go to Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, on which day do the Feast of Unleavened Bread fall? The first day. Because, matter of fact, go to it. Leviticus 23.
Let me read this right quick while you go there.
Come.
John 19 and 14, it says, and it was the preparation of the Passover, and about the 6th hour.
Now, it wasn't the preparation of the actual Passover service, because Yahweh Shah already had the Passover feast. They already did that. So this was talking about the next day, which was going to begin the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread.
Right.
Because the Feast of Unleavened Bread is still the Passover.
Right, it still ties into that.
All right. Somebody got that Leviticus 23?
That's
23 and
that's why they serve them together.
Yeah.
It's
5.
yeah, 5.
Leviticus 23 and 5. And in the 14th day of the first month, at even is the Lord's Passover.
Right.
And on the 15th day of thy same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. In the first day ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
So what does that mean? That's a Sabbath. Anytime it says that you should not do no servile work, that means it's a rest day.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a Sabbath day. So on this particular day, this was after the Passover, but right before the Feast of Unleavened Bread, when Yahushua was going through this. So the first 3 days of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, Yahushua was in the tomb. From the time they brought him down from the cross up until the time that he resurrected, he was in the tomb. He was in the sepulcher.
Yeah.
Right? So go back to John.
John 19 and 31 again. The Jews therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day, for that Sabbath day was at high day, besought Pilate that the legs might be broken and that they might be taken away.
And that they might be taken away, which really that's going into how the scriptures tell you that his bone would not be broken.
Yeah.
Okay? That's why in the law you can't break the bone of the lamb, the Passover lamb, all right? So knowing that, so now you get the understanding that when he was crucified and he was on the cross, this was after the Passover, but this was like right before the Feast of Unleavened Bread.
Yep.
So this is the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Count 3 days after that.
Yep. Well, you can't start on a Gregorian calendar to start with. It wasn't even around then.
Yeah.
You start from that there was a full moon,
Right.
but it was the Sabbath of the full moon on the 14th day of the month, which is 14 days after the new moon, and then you count 3 days after that.
Right.
So the moon was actually waning then. I forgot which is gibbous. I forgot. Waxing is growing until towards the full. Waning is going away from it.
Gibbous.
Gibbous and the other one, I forgot which is between the quarters or not. But anyway.
Right,
the
because
point
it's a
was-
full moon
Right.
during that feast.
And it's right after that, 3 days after that.
Waning.
Waning, but
Waning gibbous.
the gibbous
That's
is
going away.
the crescent.
Crescent.
Waning gibbous is more than half, and crescent is less than half. That's why.
Okay.
Right.
So how understanding that, how do you get from the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread? Y'all supposedly, when does that start for you Christians?
Right. No, they don't.
For you to say that Sunday is the resurrection day, so when did your Feast of Unleavened Bread start?
You can walk in any of these buffets right now. There's bread everywhere.
Come on, man.
Bread everywhere. They probably still passing out the communion wafers right now. There's bread everywhere out here.
So 3 days go by, and then it's approaching evening. So basically at the end of the 3rd day, beginning the 4th day, that's when Yahushua resurrected.
Right.
So Friday to Sunday, count, do the math, man.
Right.
How does that add up?
Go
You
back
got
to
that
the
in
full
Matthew?
moon.
Matthew 28:1.
Yep.
In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre.
So you know what this means? This is the following week. This the following week. Okay? So if it was what the Lord got, basically they snatched the Lord up on the 14th day at evening, right? And then they brought him there and they tortured him. They did what they did, and then it lasted all the way up until almost the evening of the 15th day.
Then he was up on the.
Then he was up on the cross, and then he was up there. No, not for a couple of days, because according to the law, you're supposed to a body not supposed to be on a tree for overnight.
Correct.
So that's why they had his body taken down after he
That's what I
died.
was just reading too.
So now it was prophesied that he would raise
Right here at the top.
3 days after that.
They came to soldiers and they broke his leg.
So that would mean that after 3 days. So going into the 4th day. So in between the 18th day and the 19th day is when he would have risen. This being, this was the first day, all right, and it was a Sabbath day, so this have to be the following week. So this would have to have been like the 22nd day. Okay, this would have to have been the 22nd day. So this was more than likely maybe three days after the Lord's resurrection, when Mary Magdalene came to the sepulchre, man. Okay, and she was coming to see if the Lord's body was still in there. All right, this couldn't have been that same Sabbath that they crucified him, because that wouldn't make sense. That would be a contradiction. So this would have to have been a week later.
Because he was eating feast with the apostles on that, and even Judas on that first Sabbath, which was the 14th day of the new moon of that Sabbath. You know, he was still out. He hadn't got taken up yet.
Go ahead, Doc.
And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat upon it. His countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow. And for fear of him, the keepers did shake and became as dead men. And the angel answered and said unto
you come to a picture going to a cemetery, and you're going to see somebody that you know, a loved one that you just buried, and you come over there and you see two men with glowing garments just chilling right there in that spot where you just buried your loved one, man. Just picture that. Okay. Go ahead, Doc.
and for the fear of him, and for fear of him, the keepers did shake and became as dead men. And the angel answered and said unto the women, Fear not ye, for I know that ye seek Yahushua, which was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen, as he said. Come see the place where the Lord lay, and go quickly and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead. And behold, he goeth before you into Galilee. There shall ye see him. Lo, I have told you. And they departed quickly from the sepulchre with fear and great joy, and did run to bring his disciples word.
All right, so that's hey, man. You Christians are idiots, man. Y'all don't know how to extrapolate. Y'all don't do enough studying, man. The scriptures say, "Study to show thyself approved." You wouldn't be in that ignoramus state if you did the studies that the scriptures tell you to do, man. You would and you would question all this shit, man. Easter, Christmas, you question all this shit if you actually did your actual studies, man. Blessed is he that readeth. All right. But here in America, you taught to be mindless. Everything that's given to you, you just gonna follow it. You ain't gonna question it. Okay. You just blindly follow anything, man.
Which proves one other thing, that you pastors, you're supposed to be reading and breaking this down and then delivering it to the people. You ain't read that? You ain't doing a diligent search? You getting paid all that money, so you ain't gotta go do the work of a regular old job, but you ain't bringing the message to the people.
All they read on Sunday is Easter Sunday is the Passions, and that's it.
Yeah. He went to the room, but in 3 days he gonna be risen. So come to Bible study on such and such.
On Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You know, that's all they talk about.
The Lord said after 3 days, man.
Yeah.
After 3 days. He didn't say the day after the day after tomorrow.
Yeah.
He didn't say that. He said after 3 days, then will I be risen. People are stupid, man. That's why it says my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge, man. You a bunch of sottish children. And that's why the Lord set up the men of the Lord all across Babylon and around the world, man. Because we're the only ones through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai that's breaking down these strongholds, man.
Right.
All right, just like how the righteous kings and the prophets, they was going down, breaking down all those idols, like we read about with King Hezekiah and King Asa, how they was breaking down those idols and burning them. Mm-hmm. Hey, we spiritually doing that, man, through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, man, spiritually. Breaking down these strongholds. Okay? We're obliterating that spirit, man. Okay? You was looking at something, or y'all was holding?
I was just reading down to get for a certain point, but just not.
Well, shit, we never got a chance to get that Amos 5:21.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, so jump on using Isaiah still. Get that 14th verse and then I was pretty much gonna jump where we was at anyway. To the 14th verse.
Yeah, you
read that first?
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, you niggas are that, and you'll find an excuse to have a feast for anything, man.
Oh, man.
Yes.
You'll know that celebrating this ain't right, but you just like to eat so much, so you'll partake in it anyway. You know?
And they always like to blame it on the kids. Oh, this is doing it for the kids. Man,
Yeah,
you're leading your kids down a way of the same way of destruction you was led down. When you gonna break that cycle?
Well, the Lord can have mercy on your children and destroy your ass, man.
Yep.
You know, the child, you're really not responsible until around 12 years old.
Right.
Your children are only going to do what their parents instruct them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're under the parents. They're not under really the Lord yet. They're under their parents. And then when they get of a certain age, then they're held accountable.
See, they want to push it off on the younger kids though. They want to go chase eggs. They want to eat candy and chase bunnies around the yard. Dumb.
Yep. Yeah, go ahead. Whoever got the scripture.
Isaiah, start at 1 and 4. All sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backward. Why should ye be stricken any more? Ye will revolt more and more.
Hey, we just keep going off. We go off so far now, and we just take our enemy's word for what our own personal spirituality should be. He looked like God anyway, but does the Bible say that that's what God looked like or what the Lord looked like? And we just take our enemy. That's how far we gone from what the Heavenly Father had for us.
Ye will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick, and the whole heart is faint. From the sole of the foot even unto the head, there is no soundness in it.
Yeah, to be sound means to be basically to have a healthy, sound mind, man. Our people are not in their right mind. That's why it says the head is sick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
From our leaders, because when nations can't think straight, we put up leaders to think for us, or to help us think straight. Well, the leaders now are deceptive, but in particularly the leaders of our nation of Israel, they're sick too. Hey, if you look to what our the Judites that's supposed to be leading us, what are they into? Martin Luther King spirit. It's like it's terrible.
Yeah, Black Panthers.
Black Panther type shit. Like
Kemet.
Way off,
Christianity.
And if your eardrums get busted, your equilibrium is off. So you can't walk right. You can't decipher anything. You know? From the sole of the foot even unto the head, there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores.
Sores that are infected. Putrefying sores are infected sores. They're not healing as it should be. They're getting worse.
They have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment. Mm-hmm. Your country is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. Your land
is describing our nation symbolically right now, how messed up we truly are.
bunch of dykes, feminists, faggots, freaks, transgenders, adulterers, idolaters, thieves,
Yep. I mean,
scam artists, extortioners,
keep going, bro. There's
liars, sellouts.
more. Yep.
Should I keep going?
Unholy. Yeah, I mean, we can, trust me.
Proud.
Yeah, we keep going, man. It's bad. Our people are the worst people on the planet right now as a whole nation. We're the worst of all the nations right now.
Strangers devour it in your presence, and it is desolate as overthrown by strangers. And the daughter of Zion is left as a cottage in a vineyard, as a lodge in a garden of cucumbers, as a besieged city. Except the Lord of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been at Sodom and Gomorrah.
Hey, in a little small cottage, ain't nobody worried about running through that vineyard and taking that cucumber field and taking whatever you got. There ain't nobody in there gonna stop you. The other nations, they ran through us. This Easter proves it. That they completely have us destroyed. The fact that there's nobody out there telling our people, hey, this ain't biblical, this ain't right. But the men of the Lord are doing it. We're the real shepherds now. You know, trying to lead the flock back to the Lord.
Yeah, if you would have never left that remnant,
Man,
Israel as a nation would be done.
no flesh left
If
to
he didn't
save.
leave that 7,000 men who would not bow down their knee to the image of Baal, yeah, Israel, the Lord would have just, got rid of Israel, man. It was all for the elect's sake that the Lord sent Yahweh Shai to redeem Israel back to him, man. That's for he so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. That remnant. Okay, that remnant. Because if the Lord didn't love his chosen, his elect, then all Israel, we'd be like under Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Al.
All right, we should have been at Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah.
Yep.
Hear the word of the Lord, ye rulers of Sodom. Give ear unto the law of our power, ye people of Gomorrah.
Mm-hmm.
To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me, saith the Lord? I am full of burnt offerings of rams and the fat of fed beasts.
Hey,
And today, instead of a lamb or a ram, it's a ham.
Yeah.
A honey baked, a glazed
with pineapple
with pineapples all over that shit.
Yeah.
You probably got some seasoning salt and pepper and garlic salt on it. You know what I'm saying? You probably seasoned it up. All right. A bunch of fried chicken.
Yep.
Yeah. You gotta be some fried chicken.
Always gotta have that. You got your catfish.
Yeah.
You know how Jake do it on Sunday dinners, man.
Your greens and your green beans, and you put
Yeah,
pork
hops.
in it.
Bacon, they do especially with bacon in there.
Yeah, bacon in it. Yeah.
That's your feast. That's the feast. That's the sacrifice, man.
Yeah. Because the ancient custom of sacrifice was when you make a mistake, you can atone for that by finding the atonement level of animal or whatever and sacrificing it unto the Lord. And it wasn't meant to be something that you smell all the time or that you see all the time happening. It's supposed to be every once in a while somebody fuck up. But the Lord is like, man, y'all taking this shit too far. I'm smelling this all damn day. I'm getting sick of all this. Because every time I smell this, it means y'all fucking up. It wasn't meant for that. And then they was even abusing it to the point where they were premeditating sacrifices and sin.
Yeah, that's I got a quick agree on that. Sirach